Ex-wife cheated on me with her coworker. Hey, true story. My name's Brent, and I've been a longtime fan of your channel. I never thought I'd be one of the guys sending you an email like this, but here I am. You've read a lot of wild stories from men all around the world, and I figured it was time I got mine off my chest. Maybe it'll help someone. Maybe it'll help me. This is the story of how I lost my wife, my so-called best friend, and found out one of the kids I raised wasn't even mine. And the worst part? It wasn't even some movie-level scandal. It was just a slow, soul-draining betrayal that happened right under my nose for years. If I didn't live it, I wouldn't believe it. Let me take you back to how it all started. How I met my ex-wife. I met Vanessa at a mutual friend's cookout in the summer of 2010. I still remember what she wore, a yellow sundress, big earrings, and a smile that made me forget whatever I was mad about that day. She wasn't the loudest in the crowd, but there was something confident and calm about her. She had this way of looking at you that made you feel like you mattered. I was working as a field tech for a telecom company back then. Long hours, but good pay and benefits. Vanessa worked in marketing for a regional health company. We hit it off over a game of spades and kept talking the whole evening. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. We dated for 2 years, no huge red flags. She was sweet, supportive, and smart. She'd cook on Sundays, iron my shirts before work, and always made me feel like I was enough. We laughed a lot. She came from a tight-knit family, which I loved. My own family was scattered. My dad passed when I was 13, and my mom raised me and my 2 sisters alone. So I appreciated the structure. We got married in 2012. It wasn't a big wedding, just 50 people at a local vineyard, but it was perfect, or so I thought. Building a life together, married life was good. We bought a small 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. Nothing fancy, but it had a nice yard and room to grow into. Vanessa wanted 2 or 3 kids. I was fine with 1 or 2, but I figured we'd figure it out together. She got promoted to senior marketing analyst about a year into the marriage. I remember how proud she was. She started working longer hours, going to more events, more networking stuff. I didn't think much of it. I trusted her. She was my wife. In 2015, she told me she was pregnant. I was nervous and excited. We had our first son, Mason, in March 2016. I cried when I held him. He had her eyes, but my ears. I was sure of it. Then 2 years later, she got pregnant again. Our second son, Elijah, was born in late 2018. He looked more like her side of the family. Lighter skin, a small dimple she said her uncle had. I never questioned it. I was working overtime to support us, trying to make enough to eventually move into a better neighborhood with better schools. Vanessa took a few months off for maternity leave and then went back to work. That's when things started to feel off. The shift. She got distant, not in an obvious way, but emotionally. She was tired all the time, didn't want to talk much, didn't laugh at my jokes like she used to. I figured it was just motherhood, 2 kids under 5. Both of us working full time, sleep deprived and stressed. I told myself it was a phase. She started staying late at work more often, said there was a big project with the new campaign director that she was helping lead. I remember asking once, "Do you like this guy?" just as a joke, and she laughed, but something in her laugh felt rehearsed. I brushed it off. Then came the password changes. Her phone had always been open. Then one day, I noticed she started locking it. She claimed it was because of company policy. She had sensitive data on her phone. That didn't sit right with me. I started watching more closely, but I never thought she'd actually be unfaithful. Not her. Not Vanessa. The discovery. You always hear stories about guys finding out their wives are cheating through texts or videos. For me, it started with the kid's birthday party. Mason was turning 7, and we were planning a small party at a local trampoline park. Vanessa asked if she could invite some coworkers who had kids too. I said sure. That's when I met Corey, her coworker. He was charming in that fake, overly polished way, kept calling me big guy and doing that shoulder tap thing like we were boys. My gut didn't like him from the second he smiled, but again, I told myself I was being paranoid. I'm not the jealous type. What hit me was how familiar they were. The way she laughed at his dumb jokes, the way he casually touched her lower back when no one was looking, except I was looking. And suddenly, all those late nights at work started clicking. That night, I went home and waited for her to fall asleep. I checked her phone. She'd deleted all her messages, but didn't know about the backup app I'd helped her install years ago to save photos and chats. Rookie mistake. I went into the cloud account. What I saw made me physically sick. Texts, hundreds of them, explicit ones, photos, hotel confirmations. I can't wait to feel you again. He's clueless, LOL. This baby looks like you. Yes, that text. My world collapsed. I woke her up at 3 a.m. and just showed her the screen. She didn't deny it, didn't cry, just sat there, quiet. She looked ashamed, but not shocked, like she'd rehearsed this moment in her head. I asked her straight up, "Is Elijah mine?" She didn't answer. That silence was louder than any confession. The DNA test. I left the next morning, went to my mom's and told her everything. She cried. I cried. My sister wanted to beat Vanessa's ass. I didn't stop her. It took me 2 weeks to pull myself together enough to request a DNA test. I had to do it discreetly. Swabbed Elijah's cheek while he was sleeping one weekend he was with me. 2 weeks later, I got the result. Not mine. I stared at that result for hours. I thought about all the nights I rocked him to sleep, the diapers, the fevers, the first words. The way he used to run to the door yelling "Daddy" every time I got home. And yet, I wasn't his dad. Not biologically, just some guy his mother used as a cover story. It crushed me. But I didn't let that little boy see me cry. The divorce. I filed the next day. No negotiation, no counseling, no fixing. I was done. I wasn't about to spend the rest of my life wondering if every smile she gave me was fake, if every word was a lie. I moved out permanently and asked for joint custody of Mason, my biological son. I told the court I didn't want parental rights to Elijah, but I would keep seeing him until the divorce was finalized. It was the hardest decision of my life, but I couldn't pretend anymore. Vanessa begged. She cried, told me it was a mistake and that Corey meant nothing. Then she said he pressured her, that it was emotional support turned into physical. I didn't care. None of it mattered. You don't accidentally cheat for over 2 years and have a baby with the guy. The fallout. Here's the twist. True story. It wasn't me who exposed them at her job. I kept quiet. I didn't even tell Corey's wife, though part of me wanted to. What happened was word started to spread. Someone overheard her talking to a friend in the break room. Then someone else saw Corey and her out at a restaurant looking way too cozy. A few weeks later, HR launched an internal investigation. By the time the divorce was finalized, both Vanessa and Corey had been fired. Company policy on fraternization. Apparently, they'd been warned once before. Vanessa tried to spin it to her family like I ruined her career. But the truth has legs. I didn't have to ruin anything. They did that all on their own. Moving out, moving on. When the court finalized the divorce, I signed the paperwork without hesitation. I'd already emotionally checked out long before the final hearing. I was awarded primary custody of Mason, and Vanessa got every other weekend. The judge asked about Elijah. I said I wasn't pursuing custody. I didn't even want child support. I wanted a clean break from the chaos. That doesn't mean it was easy. The day I packed the last box from our house, the same one I'd painted, furnished, and worked overtime to keep, I had to sit in my truck for 30 minutes and just breathe. I didn't want Mason to see me break down, but I did. I sat there, head on the steering wheel, just letting everything out. I had spent almost a decade building something that looked like a family, only to find out it was a facade built on lies. I stayed with my mom for a couple months before getting a 2-bedroom apartment. Mason adjusted quicker than I thought he would. Kids are resilient, man. He missed his little brother at first, and that was another knife to the chest. I didn't know how to explain to a 7-year-old that the boy he thought was his brother technically wasn't. But I didn't take Elijah away. That was her job. Once the truth came out, Vanessa stopped pushing for me to see him. I guess she felt guilty or just didn't want to deal with my presence anymore. Either way, I haven't seen Elijah in almost a year now, and that hurts more than I thought it would. I was there when he took his first steps. I taught him how to say car. I cleaned up his throw up at 2 a.m. more times than I can count. And now I'm a ghost in his life. The aftermath. You think when someone cheats on you and lies about your kid, you'll hate them forever. But the truth is, it's not always hate. Sometimes it's just grief. That's what people don't talk about enough. It's grief. It's mourning the death of a life you thought was real. I wasn't just losing a wife. I was losing a child I'd loved, a home I'd built, and a future I thought was locked in. Every plan I made, every dollar I saved, every hour I worked was with that family in mind. That family was never really mine. Vanessa's family reached out a few times, saying things like, "She's not a bad person. She just made a mistake." I ignored every single one of those messages, because when a mistake is ongoing and calculated, that's not a mistake. That's a choice, repeated ones. Every time she snuck out, every time she let me hold that baby while knowing he wasn't mine, every lie she told to keep her secret safe, that was a choice. She chose him. She just didn't think she'd lose everything because of it. The job fallout and karma. What's wild is how fast things unraveled for her once the truth got out. After she got fired, she tried to freelance, but word spreads fast in certain circles. Marketing isn't a huge world, especially not in our city. Her name became associated with the drama. People stopped calling her for work. Corey, from what I heard, got blackballed completely. His wife left him, took their kids, and moved to another state. Sometimes I think about sending her a message just to say, "How's that affair working out for you now?" But I don't. Not because I'm above it, but because she's not worth the emotional bandwidth. Let karma do its job. What I've learned? People ask me now if I'll ever trust again. Honestly, I don't know, and I've dated a bit. Nothing serious. I go to work, I come home, I spend time with Mason. That's my peace. That's my world. He keeps me grounded. I told myself early on I wouldn't let my bitterness infect my parenting, and I haven't. I don't badmouth Vanessa in front of him. I let him figure out what kind of person she is on his own. Kids are smart. They see what we try to hide. And while I may never trust someone 100% again, I do trust myself. I trust my instincts now. I trust that I'm stronger than I gave myself credit for. I trust that walking away was the right decision. I also learned that being a father isn't just about DNA. It's about presence. It's about love. I was Elijah's father for 4 years. And even if he forgets me one day, I'll never forget him. I can't. To the men watching, I know your audience is mostly men. True story. And I just want to speak directly to them for a minute. Brothers, if your gut is telling you something's off, don't ignore it. Don't let love gaslight you. Pay attention. People who are loyal don't move shady. They don't hide their phones. They don't get overly defensive. And they sure as hell don't let you raise another man's child while lying to your face. And if you've been betrayed, I know it feels like the end. It's not. I thought I'd never smile again, never sleep again. But I promise you, the pain fades. The confusion clears. The world starts to make sense again. You start building a new life, Not because the pain goes away, but because you learn to carry it better. And most of all, don't let one person's betrayal define you. I could have become bitter, could have become cold, but I chose better. I chose to be present for my son. I chose to show up. I chose to heal. Let them drown in their choices. You rise in yours. Where I am now. It's been over a year since the divorce. I've got my own place, a new car, and a more flexible job now that lets me spend more time with Mason. I've lost weight, got back into the gym, and even started journaling. It helps more than I thought it would. I still get flashbacks sometimes. I still feel rage, but I don't act on it. I let it pass. I let it teach me something. And as for Vanessa, I don't know where she works now. I don't care. She sends texts now and then, usually about Mason, and I keep it short. No more fighting, no more drama, just logistics. I don't love her. I don't hate her. I just see her clearly now, and that's all I ever really needed. Final words. True story. Thank you for giving men like me a place to speak. The world doesn't often care about men getting betrayed. We're told to man up, get over it, or worse, that we somehow deserved it. But betrayal cuts deep no matter who you are, and pretending it doesn't hurt only buries it deeper. I hope my story helps someone out there realize that walking away, even from your own family, isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do. Hey, True Story, it's Brent again. So here I am again, giving you an update. Not because the story got crazier, thank God, but because sometimes the most important part of a story is what happens after the storm. Healing isn't a straight line. I'd love to tell you that I'm 100% healed, that everything's perfect now and I walk around with sunshine in my pocket. But I'd be lying. Healing is slow. Some mornings I wake up and feel free, peaceful, like I got my soul back. Other days I still feel that stab in my chest when I remember how deep her betrayal ran. But here's the truth, those painful moments are fewer now, and that's progress. Therapy helped. Yeah, I finally did it. I used to think it wasn't for me. I was raised old school. Keep your head down, grind it out, push through the pain. But all that did was make me numb. So I gave therapy a real shot. My therapist, black dude in his 50s, straight shooter, didn't coddle me. He challenged me. And slowly he helped me unpack not just what Vanessa did, but how I internalized it. Turns out, part of why it hurt so bad wasn't just because I was betrayed. It was because I had made being a husband and father my entire identity. When that got taken away, I didn't know who I was. Now, I'm rebuilding that man from the ground up. My son is my anchor. Mason is doing great. He's 9 now, smart, curious, and funny as hell. We go fishing on Saturdays, hit the arcade every other Friday, and I coach his flag football team now. He's the reason I never gave up. He still asks about Elijah sometimes, and that's always hard. I never lied to him, but I also didn't dump the full truth on his young shoulders. I just said sometimes adults make decisions that affect kids in ways they don't deserve, but you're loved, always. That's the one promise I've never broken, to never let my son feel unloved or unwanted, no matter what. As for Vanessa, we keep it civil. Our communication is strictly about Mason, and it's usually through text or the co-parenting app. She doesn't try to make small talk anymore. I think she knows that bridge is ashes now. From what I hear, she's working a new job, nothing close to what she had before. She moved into a smaller apartment and no longer posts her boss babe lifestyle on social media. Corey, completely out of the picture. Apparently their little affair fizzled once the spotlight hit them. Funny how the thrill of a lie dies in daylight. I don't hate her. I don't love her. I just don't feel anything for her anymore. And that, to me, is freedom. Dating? Yeah, I've dipped my toes back in the water. Not gonna lie, it was awkward at first. The idea of trusting another woman again made my skin itch, but I'm not trying to punish the next woman for the last one's sins. That's not fair. I went on a few dates. Some were good, some were straight up disasters. Remind me to tell you about the woman who brought her emotional support ferret to dinner. But overall, it reminded me that life still has possibilities. There's one woman I've been seeing a little more seriously lately. Her name's Raina. We met through mutual friends. She's down to earth, never married, no kids, and very patient. I told her everything early on. No games. She appreciated that. Said she'd rather deal with a man who's healed from pain than one pretending he never had any. We're taking it slow. I'm not in a rush. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I'll still be good. Message to the men in the comments. Some of y'all really had my back in those YouTube comments. I saw brothers from every walk of life sharing wisdom, encouragement, even cracking jokes that helped lighten the mood. I didn't expect that level of support. I want to say this to the men who are still in it, still stuck in the house, still sleeping beside a woman they don't trust, still wondering if they're raising a child who isn't theirs. I see you. I've been you. And I know you feel like your whole identity is tied to keeping the family together. But let me tell you something. Sometimes walking away is what saves the family. Because what you're modeling for your kids when you stay in a broken situation is how to tolerate pain, not how to build love. You are not weak for leaving. You are strong for choosing peace over performance. And if you're scared to start over, good. That means you're human. But fear is no excuse to live a lie. The longer you stay, the more it rots you from the inside. Don't stay where you're tolerated. Go where you're respected. Where I'm headed. Now, I started journaling after the divorce just to get the thoughts out of my head. That turned into blog posts. Now I'm writing a short book, not to sell, just to document my story for Mason someday. Maybe when he's 18 or 21, I'll hand it to him and say, "This is what your old man went through. This is how we made it." I also started mentoring a few young guys through my church and a local fatherhood program. Just talking to them, helping them navigate life. One of them told me, "You're like the dad I never had." That hit me hard. It reminded me that even though my house got torn down, I can still help other men build theirs. Thank you. True story. I don't know if you realize how many lives you're impacting. I didn't know how much I needed this outlet until I wrote that first email. You gave my pain a place to land. You gave my voice a platform. And more importantly, you gave men a space to be honest. Keep doing what you do. Don't water it down. We need it raw. We need it real. And for the brothers out there still bleeding silently, write your story. Even if you never send it. Even if no one reads it. Just get it out of your chest. Don't let it fester. You're not alone. You never were. With peace and clarity,